on this Wednesday, all mailbag edition of Trunk Nation. But going through your emails right now, this next one comes from Bill. And Bill does not write where he's from, but he has a 201 phone number. And that would mean probably New Jersey. Well, that is New Jersey. Being a Jersey guy, I know that. But obviously, you can live anywhere and have an area code on your cell phone. Anyway, I'm assuming Bill's probably in Jersey with that phone number that's on his email. Bill writes to me in the mailbag, Eddie, given the current status of the music biz, how does it differ from, say, 10 years ago regarding new bands looking to make a splash outside of their local scene? If money was the issue with some bands, there's none to be made the traditional ways. What advice can you give the next generation of real rockers? Well, Bill, I don't know if you're in a band or work with a band, but that is a question that I get so often. And Bill, if it was a question I had an answer to, I'd be an extraordinarily wealthy guy. Because trying to navigate the music industry today and how to break through it if you are a new band is, look, it was always difficult. I mean, that's what made making it, quote unquote, making it such a huge deal. Because there were so many, even if you got a record deal, how many bands do you know of? How many records, major record company records do you have of completely unknown bands? Bands that tanked, bands that didn't make it. So bands spend their whole lives trying to get a record deal. And then they finally get a record deal, and it's still like finding a needle in a haystack that you actually break through. Now, of course, you have a better shot if you have a company behind you, but my CD collection is filled with CDs on major labels of bands you never heard of. So that just shows you how hard it's always been. Now in 2022, and in the case of Bill's email here, say for the last 10 years, which is what he wants to know, I mean, it's way, way, way more difficult. Why? Because what we talk about all the time, volume, the amount of bands that exist, the fact that getting a record deal is no longer the be-all, end-all. The fact that you don't need a record company to put music out is a blessing and a curse. A blessing in that you can make music and get it out to people that might want to hear you, but a curse in that so can anybody else. Making that marketplace and that pool of stuff to find, even for fans to find it, 10,000, 100,000 times more filled. So I don't have the answers, Bill. I am asked, again, this so often. Friends of mine whose kids have bands and what have you. And the principles and the things that I'll tell you that I always stand behind is songs, songs, songs. Do you have great songs? And do you have an objective ear around you telling you if the songs are good enough or not? And by objective ear, I mean not your family, not your mom or dad, not your boyfriend or girlfriend, not your aunt or uncle, not your best friend. An objective ear that's going to tell you this just isn't good enough. It is astonishing to me how many people pump stuff out there that's just not that good at all. And they believe it's good. Do you know how many times, multiple times every week, I'll hear, this is the thing that's going to bring back rock and roll. This is going to be huge. You got to hear this, Eddie. This is next level. And it's just not. It's just not. So the hype doesn't work. You've got to have the songs. And there's obviously other intangibles as well. And there's obviously been bands that have broken through some of those other intangibles that didn't have always great songs, in my opinion. But to me, the number one thing that I see that is an issue with bands is the ability to write great songs. How many people, oh, they're amazing players, or they look great, or they've got this gimmick going on, or this guy's an incredible guitar player. So what? You have great songs. Click on YouTube. There's a million kids shredding away. Who cares? Can they write a song? Can they write a hit? Can they write a riff? Probably not. So that's, from the creative standpoint, the biggest thing that I think doesn't get the focus that it should. From there, it's really about building a profile and building social media and building streams and views and clicks, because that really is the barometer of what a lot of people are looking for. I mean, I get press releases all the time, or emails all the time. Hey, we just signed to Jimmy Bob Records in whatever. It means nothing. It means not, hey, we just charted on this, the top 22 bands that start with a B and end with a Z in their name chart. Check it out. Means nothing. Hey, Joe, whoever just mastered our record. He mastered what means nothing. Those people get hired and they're paid for whatever they're paid for to work on. I mean, there's so much of that goes on. Such and such is mixing our record. Nobody cares who's mixing your record that buys music. Nobody even knows what that means. Are the songs good? You got something going on? You have some buzz? Do you have a following? Do you have some streams? Do you have some clicks? Do you have a good look? Are you young? If you're not young, your odds decrease dramatically. Dramatically. So, I mean, those are all things. And then just as far as going forward, I mean, look, if you want a record deal, if you don't want a record deal, history has proven that there's tons of artists that have gotten pretty far with no record deal. I think the number one thing that you should try to acquire is a great manager, and a connected manager, and a manager with experience in the music industry. Having a great manager can take you very far, even without a record label. Most great managers now work out of management companies that have other managers under that umbrella, with other artists under that umbrella. In a lot of cases, management companies are like record companies. Some of them even have in-house record company services. So finding a great manager is, to me, more important than anything in your evolution of being a musician. Because that great manager can get you a great booking agent, which can maybe get you gigs, get you some favors opening some shows, can give you the real lay of the land, can give you real direction, and can really tie you into some things, and then tell you if and when getting a record deal is the right deal, and if a record deal makes sense for you to have. Because record deals have changed dramatically as well, and what they want from you and what they're willing to give you. So I think that lay the groundwork, have the material, have somebody that can really tell you whether the stuff's good or not. Don't go out there until it's completely 100% ready to go, and then build it. And if you can get enough buzz going, find a great manager that'll find you, and then run from there and hope for the best. But I'm not saying any of that's easy. It is not. And it is harder than ever, because now there's probably 100 times the amount of people trying to do the same exact thing. Thank you, Bill, for your email. Not in any way to be pessimistic. I'm rooting for all these young bands, but it's so important now more than ever to have all the pieces in place and lead with your best foot forward. And, come out and really try to go for it. And look, it doesn't hurt to have some money. If you have some money behind you and you have resources, that certainly helps. I'm not going to lie to you. It helps. It can bring you a lot of things, but it cannot buy you success. You cannot buy it. Do you know how many artists out there have, I can tell you many examples, very young bands, very old bands that have one or two members extraordinarily wealthy, or people backing it extraordinarily wealthy. throwing millions of dollars at it, and it still doesn't break. Because at the end of the day, sometimes people see through that. And if the material and the band itself isn't that good, it's not going to matter. And it can work against you. If it gets out that you're just, trying to buy it and it's not real and it's not legit, it's not organic, that can work against you as well. If that narrative about your band gets out there. So money helps. It can help buy you a publicist. It can help buy you some people that maybe talk about your record a little bit in terms of marketing. But it's certainly not the magic ticket. And at the end of the day, it takes a little luck too, I think. I truly believe that.